A sheep wagon was the home of a shepherd as he followed the flocks through the countryside during the grazing season. So I thought we'd take a quick tour and just see what it would be like to live inside. And one of the first things you notice when you enter is the little sheep herder stove. There are many different makes, but usually about the same style. This particular one was made by the Auto Stove Works, New Athens, Illinois. Most of these will have 4 cast iron lids on the top. The 2 on the left are directly over the fire pot, while the 2 on the right are more centered over the oven itself. While completely removing the lids on the left, we can see that there is a grate underneath, and this is where the main fire was lit. On the side is a draft control that controls the intensity of the fire itself. And for the fire to draft, it goes across the top of the stove and out the vent. So we have an area that is just a hot area, but not directly under the fire. So we can see that the 2 cast iron plates on the right don't get as hot as the 2 on the left that are directly over the fire chamber itself. In the front of the fire chamber is also a door that gives access to the grates. Then there is a second door underneath the fire pot, and this is where the ash pan collects the ashes as the fire burns. Now when there is a fire in the fire chamber on the left, and it is exhausting through the pipe on the right, it is simultaneously warming up the oven, which is also on the right. And this is where the biscuits and the bread and the pastries would be baked. And then on the upper right of this oven, you see a little knob, and this is where the damper control is located. So by using both the draft control on the left and the damper control is how the shepherd would control the heat of the oven. And this stove gets vented out the top of the sheep wagon. And also surrounding the oven is a tin shield as a heat shield to keep from burning the place down. And behind the stove is the kitchen cupboard. This is where your spices and specialty little things would be. All these kitchen cupboards are a little different from sheep wagon to sheep wagon. But just like campers today that have to be secured so that they don't open up while they travel, they all have their fancy little latches. Now this sheep wagon has a little storage bin on the right. This isn't common in a lot of sheep wagons, but this looks like a handy place to store some flour or maybe some salt. And at the rear of most sheep wagons is a location for a bed. Many of these are for a twin-size bed, and here we can see an original mattress. At the back side, above the mattress, is a window. Some of them are hinged. This particular one slides. And underneath the bed on each side is usually a drawer. And most likely, these drawers are where the articles of clothing would be stored. But how all these little compartments are used is just as varied as the personalities of the shepherds themselves. The largest storage compartment is directly in the center underneath the bed. And who knows what might be stored here? Maybe some vet supplies, maybe some lambing supplies, whatever's necessary. Sometimes they're accessible from the back. This one is only accessible from the front. And of course, in every home, there needs to be the table. And then on each side on the benches, there's another little cubby hole, a little hideaway place. These can be used for kerosene or potatoes, but these correlate with the boxes that are outside the wagon on each side. One on the left, and of course there's also one on the right. So in many ways, these sheep wagons are trying to utilize as much available space as possible, similar to the RVs that we use today. And then in this particular sheep wagon, over the main entry door, is a little cubbyhole door. Who knows what it was used for? And when it was time to move the flocks or to trail along, the shepherd would drive standing in the door. That's why the brake handle is right by the door. So this is the home of the shepherd. Thanks for watching.